It's also to harness influence.
What you mean?
Like with the parties and everything with Puff, it's to harness influence to get people there. And then they're not saying.
So now he got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you all the way out of pocket, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't. Everybody didn't know that. You know, now you gotta be cool now. Don't ever go against this.
So they're blackmailing with like a booty.
Kind of like, look, you see now you pressing Bieber.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up? Like I'm calling you, ain't answering.
Yeah, that was a little.
That was weird.
That was crazy.
That was weird.
They did not run through Bieber at that point.
Still was pressing him like, why you not answering your phone? Like, yo.
Yeah.
Like I don't got a video of me fingering you.
He wasn't answering for a reason.
He was like, I don't ever
fingered last time.
Because you did things to me.
Fuck.
Yeah, but that's you can see how it kind of leveraged. I guess it's the same thing with Epstein, right? What else would you do?
100%.
I haven't had issues with Puff where I don't like him like that. Like I don't like things that he would do and make me uncomfortable.
So we're speaking on Diddy. We're speaking on Puff.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't have that thing where we ain't had no thing. I wasn't sending nothing at him, big. If it was on the street side like that, we would be actively doing things to each other.
Right.
And we wasn't doing that. Right. So it gets to with Jay, definitely not that. That's definitely not. It's just being competitive.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I look at it, I go, whoa. So I always go into what would I do in a situation like this? Like when that type of thing happens. Like, and I'm going, I don't know. I hope things are all right for him internally.
Speaking on?
I mean, at the crib. Because in the statement they mentioned his
you talking about Jay?
His daughter
Gotcha.
would, being old enough to, because she about 13.
Right.
So it's the same age as his kids.
For years, people treated 50 Cent's comments about Diddy as internet trolling. Every post, every joke, every sarcastic remark looked like another chapter in a long-running hip-hop rivalry. Then the lawsuit started. Then the federal attention arrived. And suddenly, people started going back through everything 50 had been saying and asking a very different question. Was he joking, or was he trying to tell people something? That's the conversation 50 Cent's documentary reopened. And attached to that conversation, for reasons we'll get into, is Justin Bieber's name. Let's lay out what's actually verifiable first, because this topic gets buried in speculation fast, and it's important to separate what we know from what people are theorizing. What we know: Sean Combs, known as Diddy, faces serious federal charges. His public image, built over decades around power, wealth, and influence, is now under intense scrutiny. Lawsuits and allegations from multiple parties have fundamentally changed how people view his career and his relationships. That's the documented reality. What 50 Cent did: he produced a documentary that brought renewed public attention to the situation surrounding Diddy. And because of 50's long, very public history of criticizing Diddy, a history most people had categorized as a personal feud, the documentary was viewed differently than if it had come from a neutral party. For many viewers, it felt less like journalism and more like a former adversary finally getting to say, "I told you so," on the biggest possible stage. Whether you think that changes the validity of what the project raised is a fair debate. Both perspectives exist, and both have real logic behind them. But here's what made this whole thing go beyond just a 50 and Diddy conversation. Once the documentary gained traction, it triggered a massive wave of people going back through old footage, old interviews, and old celebrity associations with a completely new lens. And one of the names that kept appearing in those old clips was Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber entered the entertainment industry as a child. He was discovered at 13, signed, and immediately placed into an environment surrounded by some of the most powerful and well-connected people in music and entertainment. And he was doing this without the life experience to fully understand the dynamics of that world, who was genuinely looking out for him and who wasn't. He's spoken about this in various interviews over the years, and those clips have been circulating heavily online since the documentary dropped. In one interview, he talked about being young in the industry, trusting everyone around him, and eventually getting burned. He talked about putting up walls afterward, shutting people out, and losing parts of himself in the process. His exact words: I was so young and innocent, and I trusted everybody. With being young and innocent in this industry, it's not necessarily the best thing because people take advantage of vulnerability. I was just in a place of trusting everyone and thinking everyone was on my side and eventually getting burned. After a while, I started putting up walls and boundaries. For a while, I kind of shut everybody out, and then I kind of lost my own personality and lost my charisma because I just didn't trust anyone. That's Justin Bieber talking about his experience in the industry. He did not name specific people in that quote. He was not making a formal accusation, but in the context of what has now come to light about some of the powerful figures who surrounded him during those years, those words have landed very differently on audiences who are revisiting them. There is also publicly available footage of a young Justin Bieber at 15 and 16 in various media settings where adult interviewers asked him uncomfortable and inappropriate questions. Questions about his personal and sexual life that were entirely inappropriate for a teenager in a professional setting. Those clips have been widely shared as examples of how industry spaces around young artists normalized behavior that should have been recognized as inappropriate. His mother was asked, in one widely circulated clip, why she would send a 15-year-old to spend time with powerful industry figures without direct supervision. These are public clips. They exist, and they raise real questions about what kind of oversight and protection existed around very young artists during this era of the industry. Now, the internet has also produced a significant amount of speculation and theory around Justin Bieber and Diddy, including detailed interpretations of his Yummy music video, interpretations of old photos and videos, and claims from unverified sources. It is important to be clear, those theories are not confirmed. Viral speculation, however detailed or convincing it sounds, is not evidence. Justin Bieber has not publicly accused Diddy of any specific act. There is no confirmed public statement, court filing, or official record that establishes what their relationship specifically involved beyond what was publicly documented. The reason this still matters, even while separating it from unverified theories, is because the broader conversation is legitimate. Young people in the entertainment industry, particularly during the era when Bieber came up, were frequently placed in proximity to very powerful adults with very little formal protection in place, no serious oversight, no industry-wide standard for what was or wasn't appropriate, and an enormous amount of financial pressure on parents and managers to maintain access to those powerful figures because access meant career advancement. Bieber has spoken publicly about his mental health struggles, his faith, the difficulties of his marriage and personal life, and the process of rebuilding himself as a person after years of feeling like he didn't know who he was. He's been open about the damage done to him, not always in specific terms, but in ways that make clear he went through something significant. He said in one interview that he just wants to be a good example and that he wouldn't wish what he went through on anybody. People who have watched him closely over the years have noted that his behavior and public persona shifted significantly during certain periods of his career in ways that, in retrospect, raised questions. None of that constitutes proof of anything specific, but it does explain why people are paying attention to his story in the context of everything now emerging about the industry figures who surrounded him. 50 Cent's involvement in this story is genuinely complicated. He has a documented, long-standing personal conflict with Diddy. He has also, in his own interviews, described feeling uncomfortable around Diddy for years, specifically describing moments where Diddy's behavior toward other men was something he personally found inappropriate. In one interview, he described a moment at a wedding where Diddy offered to take him shopping and said the way he said it made him deeply uncomfortable. He said he looked at those interactions differently once he understood more about how Diddy operated. Whether 50 Cent is motivated by genuine concern, by personal vendetta, or by both is something only he knows. What's true is that his willingness to publicly criticize Diddy during years when most people in the industry stayed silent, whether it came from rivalry, from instinct, or from something he actually knew, is now being viewed in a different context than it was before. The larger question that the documentary, the allegations, and all of the resulting conversation have put in front of people is this: how much did the people around these young artists know? And how many of them stayed quiet because the professional cost of speaking up was too high? That's not a question specific to any one artist or any one alleged perpetrator. It's a question about an entire ecosystem that allowed very young, very vulnerable people to be surrounded by very powerful adults with almost no meaningful accountability in place. That question doesn't have a clean answer. The investigation into Diddy is ongoing. Court proceedings will determine what is legally proven. Much of what circulates online will remain in the category of speculation and theory. But the underlying conversation about how the industry treats young artists, who protects them, and what silence has cost them, that conversation is legitimate, and it's not going away. Justin Bieber has not given a public statement addressing the specific theories circulating about his relationship with Diddy. His team has not released a comment in response to the wave of online discussion. His recent public focus has been on his family and his faith. Whatever his full story turns out to be, the version of it we have access to right now is a young man who says the industry hurt him, who spent years trying to rebuild his sense of self after losing it to an environment that exploited his trust, and who has said he wouldn't wish what he went through on anyone. That much at least, he has said clearly. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think the documentary actually accomplished? And what questions do you think still need real answers?